I'll try to share the content. Hope that screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
So this is the agenda today. So I'll just I have installed UiPath, and I'll request all the participants just to click on that UiPath, double click on that UiPath, and open the environment. So first you'll see an environment. I will say something about just name some bands in this environment, and just describe, just give a few, just give a brief description about the components in the pan, because we are not going into the detail, because it is with these environment and with these pans you are going to program for today and tomorrow and the day after. So you'll get familiarized with the pan on these days. I'll just mention and describe your description about the pans. Then in this session, you'll just go into the variables and control statements you use extensively in your programs. So how to declare a variable and how you use the variables supported by UiPath. There are control statements as in other programming languages, the same control statements like if, then, else, while, do while, for each, etc. So we'll see some of them. We'll try to work out some exercises with that, and definitely that after these you'll have one or two assignments. You can try it at home, try it after the class. So this is our plan today. So we'll move on now. I think you would have opened your UiPath. So when you double click and open, I'll see something like this. So you'll see you'll see a screen with process, library, template, open recent. Might be blank for you if you haven't done anything there. So these will be the screen which you are seeing at first. So you can click on this process. You can click on the process, and once you click on the see, even if it is a bit slow, you are using your personal laptop, and even if it is a bit slow, need not worry, because it takes a huge amount of RAM. Minimum requirement as suggested yesterday will be 4 GB RAM. So if you have higher RAM like 6 or 8 GB, you would get a better experience with this. Even now, since I'm using my personal computer, I'm also having a 4 GB RAM. So once you click on or you execute something, it might take some time. You just have to wait patiently. So when you click process, a new blank process comes open asking for a name and description of the process. You can give some name like test or test one, something like that. You can give a name for it. If necessary, if you want, the best practice will be to give a description about the process, like what we are going to do. Just need not do that now. Just give a name and you enter create in it. So a box like this, a window like this will get opened up. This is your UiPath environment. Maybe this you would have seen this window yesterday itself. So this is the environment of your UiPath. There you just click open main workflow. So when you click open main workflow, you will have a window like this. So this is our environment. I'll just give some description about the environment, and then we will go on to uh, working out with this. I think that everyone has got this screen. Some of you, if you got this screen, if you can respond, it will be better. So
What
today,
to open?
the last is open main workflow. You'll see a open main workflow here. Just click on that. So you have a window like this. So hope that you have got an environment like this. Once again, I'll make it clear that from today's session, it will not be hearing something. You can relax over there, hear what we are saying. It will be better. It will be informative if you can work along with this. So okay, so this environment you get, you'll notice something here. You have a home button, a design, and a debug button. One by one will come. So then you'll have something like new, save, export, debug, etc. At the left side, you'll see some activities saying favorites, recent, available, etc. Then you'll see some, we call these as ribbons. We'll see one by one. We'll see some elements in the ribbons. The right side, you'll see the property. The center, you'll have a place to work. This is your workspace. So you are going to program, we are going to drag and drop our activities into this space. So these are the left side, you are having the activity, the required activity. This is what we said yesterday, that activities or sequences or some processes to mimic human actions are already pre-written and available in the tool. So these are in the form of activities here. Now I'll just click on that activity, drag, and we'll drop this activity in this space. In our space where you see this main drag activity here, we will drop it over there. So whatever we drop here and we select something, the property of that will be displayed at this side. So we'll see the details of the properties. Just hear these things. You just note these things in your environment. The properties will be displayed in this right hand side. The property, you can see the properties of the playing, the properties of the activity what you have selected. Now you can edit on that. So another thing you'll see is that at the bottom you'll see something like variables, arguments, imports, etc. So when we declare some variables over here, that variables will be reflected in the variable pane. Or you can do it the other way. From the variable pane, you can create a variable. Need not worry, we'll do all these things. So this is a window we are talking about properties. You have a variable, argument, and imports, and in the left bottom you'll see project, activities, and snippets. Okay, so today we'll just deal with the variables. So these are, so you'll see about the components. We call these components as ribbons. So what are the things in ribbons is that we have something called recording. We have something like user scrapping, user events, variables, etc. So new is there. What is new doing is that when you click on new, you'll get some options like sequence, flowcharts, etc. You can select from that. When you start working with the project, you'll just click on new, you take whatever is necessary. Once you finish you think that you have finished your project, you just have to save your project as we do in all the other environment. You just have to save the project, and if you like to run the project, you just click on this run button. Now maybe in your environment, you might be seeing something called as debug. You'll have a drop down arrow near the debug. You click that drop down arrow, you'll get the option of run, debug, etc. So once your project is done, you just have to run the code. Then you'll see something called as recording, screen scrapping, data scrapping, user events. One by one you'll see. So what is recording? UiPath's recorder allows users to record UI, mouse movements, and keyboard activities to generate automation scripts. See, actually, this is an interesting concept which is there in this UiPath. So if we see about what we are going to see in our first session is simple things like declaring the variables, calling the variable, displaying a message, or implementing a if then else, for each, or while activity. Those who have got exposure to the programming will think that this is very similar to what you do in normal programming languages. Yes, it is similar. Maybe you are just dragging and dropping. You are not writing any code. You are dragging and dropping. Very similar. But the features which make UiPath or the RPA software is unique is something like this: recording. We'll say about a recording. It just records all the, it allows the user to record our activities in the sense your mouse movements or keyboard activities. It will entirely record it and you can place it as a code, you can save it, and as and when necessary, you can use it. I'll just say an example. Think that you are a data entry, think of a data entry operator. So every day he reaches the office at 9 o'clock in the morning. He just opens his system. The first thing he will do after opening a system is he will take an Excel file or a Word file which is having a lot of data in it, which he have prepared yesterday. So he take that file, Excel or a Word file. He just wanted to mail that file to his boss. So this is the usual task he do. Maybe he would have to do these 50 or 100 documents he would have to mail, or he have to mail that one document to 50 or 100 people. Think that this is the situation. So he's doing this every day, every morning he's doing this. What if he is on leave on that day? He has to assign this to someone else. Or what if he forget to do that? Then there is also a problem. This is a repetitive task, a structured task. So what you can do is that one day when you are doing this job, you can make a recording of your desktop. There are options in it like desktop recording, basic desktop, web recording, etc. So one day you can just, when you are doing the task, you can record the task and you can save it as a bot. Now what you can do is you can set this, schedule this bot so that every day morning at 9 o'clock, if the system is on, every day morning, this bot will find the Word file, it will mail it to whoever is necessary. Whatever things these operator have done the previous day or whatever things you have recorded, everything will be done automatically. This is not over by this. You can also do something like this. You can log into a website that every morning you are doing the same thing. You are logging into a website, collecting data from the website, and that data is sent to someone. So if that is also the case, you can record the event. That is something called as web recording. You can record the event so that every time the project, the program executes, the same process is done. So that these are the features which will make RPA or our UiPath unique. So this is about recording. About screen scraping. Scraping in the sense we'll just extract some data from it. We
Sir,
are extracting. Yeah.
sir, sorry to disturb you, sir. Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, sorry to disturb you.
Okay, sir.
Sir, actually we have opened the software, sir.
Okay.
But in that we are unable to like locate what exactly you are showing you in the PPT, showing in the PPT.
So
So
what is the thing you have in your screen?
we directly got it like UiPath Automation Cloud, and in that home orchestrator and actions apps process and administration processes and admin.
Did you exactly open our UiPath Studio?
That's what, sir. I have done it actually. So it is showing it as UiPath Automation Cloud, sir.
UiPath Automation Cloud.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll see into it.
Okay.
You have started taken
Also,
it from the start and you have given UiPath Studio, right?
yes, sir.
Anybody
Uh,
else is having this issue?
Sorry to interrupt. I think you have installed some other different software. I think Studio X you have installed. Is it right, sir?
Yeah,
Sir.
yeah,
Actually,
it might be right. But
uh,
they have verified it yesterday, right? They
Yeah.
have installed the correct version, installed it. They verified everything, I think.
when you are installing, three options will be shown: Studio X, center one
Oh.
is Studio, and the last one is another. So other two is actually trial version. Only
Oh.
Studio is the community version. So that is why I asked you to install the center of that one. That is Studio. So you should get a window like this. This is the
Sir.
community edition actually.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I'll get back to you, sir, once if there is
Yeah,
an issue.
Okay, okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. See, if you have any issues like these, problems like these, yesterday Arun has helped you to install these things. So he's right available. He's available here, so you can take his help. Whatever problem comes, see, even today, yesterday and today, we are dedicating the time just to make sure that we are not going to give a lot of information, because plenty of information, plenty of options are available there. It is not our idea to give all the information. We are trying to give very little information, but we are trying to make sure that the information reaches you. So if you have any problems, please feel free to contact just like this. So once again, we'll come back to our topic. So I'll try to scrap data, whatever is available. So seeing data scrapping in the sense you have a particular file or a web page from where you need to take data, take selected data. Say for example, you have a Flipkart window, Flipkart website. From there, you need to select the name and the cost of mobile phones. So you'll have n number of entities there. You can just with a single program, you can take all the data available in the website. So all these exercise will be doing, I think, by today afternoon, today second session itself. So next is an user events, yeah, which will capture the user events or even simple events like mouse click, key press, etc. All these becomes an user events. You can capture events like this. Like yesterday we are seeing capturing about a click. So you can capture these things. Then you can manage your variables. Like you can create variables. You can edit it. You can delete a variable, and you can do all sorts of things. Another one you'll see is Launch UI Explorer. That will be dealt in detail when we go with the orchestrator part. So these things I have already said. New files, to open a new files in your project. So then we have something called as activity pane. We call it as activity pane. The left side you'll see this pane where you have favorites, the sign. Then some of the activities will be listed in your favorites. Some will be in available. In available you'll see UI automation, user events, app integration, etc., etc. So that you'll have to deal when we are dealing with the advanced level of these program. So activity pane is there on the left side. Right side there is properties pane. Whatever we do in our window, those things, the properties of those things will be listed here. So the bottom variable, arguments and imports are there. We'll be looking into the variables here. This is called as the control bar. Why it is control bar, you will understand when we are doing the program. So this is about the environment. And I think that you have a system, you are clear with the environment. Just identify the elements in this environment, and now we'll start working on with this environment. So you can go to your UiPath Studio. So you'll have a main window like this. So now what we are going to do is, yeah.
Sir, actually, where is the file, that location? That exe file is there, or we have to open in a browser? Initially, first time.
I didn't get it, sir.
So from where we should open this one?
So you can just, if you are not seeing anything in your desktop, you can go to start and simply type UiPath. You will get
Okay.
something like UiPath Studio.
Okay.
Is it possible to open, sir?
Okay.
Here, when we are starting it, we are saying something about workflows. So workflow, there are four types of workflow here: a sequence, a flowchart, a state machine, and a global handler. So sequence, we said yesterday about sequence of activities when we are discussing a process. So when we are dealing with a linear process, we are using these workflow called as sequence. when you have multiple process to do, when you have multiple process, multiple branching logical operators, all these things will go for flowchart. Today we will limit to sequence in the first session, and the rest will be dealt later. So now it's ready. Now all of you please get ready to do your first project in your UiPath. So just open the window. What is the project? You just have to display a message. Hi, welcome to UiPath. This is what you have to do. So I'll parallelly try to do these things. So we are going just to display a message in our screen. Display a message in our screen, please. Sorry, I just have to attend an important call. Please excuse me for just a minute.
Arun sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, sorry, sir. Sorry to disturb you. Can you just guide me how to install it now? Because I think I've done it something. I went wrong in installation process. So
No
if you can
issues.
able to like meanwhile without wasting much time, can you just tell me, sir? So
Yeah,
can you
sure.
share the link or something else so that I can do it, sir?
Okay. Sir, can we do it separately?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Sorry for that. I have to attend an important call. So we are going to do our first project just to display a message saying hi, welcome to UiPath. So please open this window. I'll just do the activities very slowly so that you can follow me. So here you'll see activity, you'll see a space to type something. So you just type message.
Sir, sorry to disturb.
Yes.
Your screen is not visible actually. Only PPT is visible.
No, sir. Screen is visible, sir.
Visible? Okay.
Visible. Yeah, we can
Okay.
able to see that message. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Studio
Okay.
community can able to see the demo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So you just type message and you put enter, you'll see a message box. So it will be there in recent, or you'll find somewhere down it. I have just taken the message box, so it is available in the recent. So you'll see something like this message box. You click on that, drag it and bring it to the drop activity here. You'll see a plus sign and you drop it over there. Sorry, I'll just do it once again. So what I'll do is that I'll do it. So first, so for your case, I'll say that first take new, select sequence. You give a name for this, you give something like test 1. So you have created a new sequence in your workspace. You have created a new sequence in the name test 1. And after that, last time what happened is that I have already created a sequence and it was there. So that is the reason I missed it out. So you just take new, you click sequence, you name for that sequence and press enter. You will see a window like this with the name you have given. Once you finish this, you just type message. You'll see a message box like this. Click on that, drag it, bring inside the sequence near the plus sign and drop it here. I think it is finished. It is easier for you now. So what is the message we need to type? We need to display a message, hi, welcome to UiPath. So inside the message box, whatever you type will be displayed. I think there is no problem with it. So inside the message box, you type whatever message you want to display within quotes, within double quotes. So once you press double quote once, it will give you two double quotes over there. Now you can type the message what you're going to do. Hi, welcome to UiPath. So once that is done, give a enter. So now you would have seen that there was a red exclamation over there. It says that there is some error. Now that is gone. So new sequence, give the name for that sequence. That sequence appears over here in your workspace. Then you type message in your activity. Click on that message, drag and drop it inside your sequence. I think it's done. Now you can save these. And if you see a debug file, just click on that debug file, click the drop down arrow of that debug file, just run the file. So you'll see that once you start running the file, it will just get minimized of its own. It will take some time. Your first project will take some time according to the speed of your system. And just have to see, just bring your cursor over the studio. You'll see a running button here. So just have to wait. So once that process is over, you'll see a green bell like this, a green switch like this. And once it is executed, you will see a message in your screen. Hi, welcome to UiPath. Hope that you have finished your first project. Now, if anybody is having any issues with this, please unmute yourself and ask. So by this time, because next, what you're going to do next, you'll be doing of your own. So just see that, hi, welcome to UiPath. A message is displayed. Any message, a message is displayed in your screen. Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Fine. I think so. Your first project with this UiPath is done. You have started your programming and you have completed your first project. Once you click on OK, the studio will pop up again. So your window will come back again. So this is your first project. This is your code. That is what we said already. There is nothing to code. See, normally when any programming language, the first program they will study is about hello world or something like that. So just to display. So what are things in C program, what are things you do, you know that. So I think that it is not as that difficult as this. You just need to know the activity panes, the relevant boxes. You just have to drag it over here, and next time you'll see how to connect, how we will connect things. So just drag over here and just execute it. So this is our first project. So now we'll start thinking about variables. Now you are familiar with the environment, and you know just to display a message with the UiPath. Now we'll go on to simple variables. So what are the variables supported by this? We have integer variable, string, integer where we supply numbers to it, string where we have characters and characters, boolean where we go for true or false condition, array of elements, we have number of arrays, date time is there, so it will display the current date and time, current system date and time. And all these are normal programming variables supported almost by every programming languages. But there is something unique called as UiPath variable called as generic value. So think of a situation that so if you declare a variable as an integer, and if you're passing a string, you'll get an error. So think of a situation that you do not know the variable type which is to be passed. You can just declare it as a generic value. Whatever value you give, it will take accordingly. So, but the best practice is not to, if you know the variable correctly. If you know the type correctly, please specify the type, don't give us generic value. So these are the variables supported. You'll see variables one by one. Now, once again, we'll go back to the studio and just see that you have displayed some message in it. Now, what I wanted is get your name as input, get a name as input from the user. So which means that when I execute my program, the system should ask me a question, enter your name. So when I enter my name, it should be displayed over there. So we'll try for that. So I think if you understood this part, you can do that also easily. So if you are willing to keep all your projects one by one, what you can do is that you can take a new another sequence, give it as test2. So your test1 will remain over there and you can work on with test2. So here and sequence is there. Now what I wanted is I wanted to ask the user should give the input, the system should ask me for the input. I can feed the input and that should be displayed. Say, so I'll try for an input activity. So you'll see an input dialog. So under maybe under dialog, you'll see an input dialog. Just click on that input dialog and drop it here. You'll see some fields here. You have to enter the field. Dialog title is nothing but so whatever you enter here, you have to put it in double quotes. So dialog title will be displayed at the top of your dialog box. So you just can say it as name. You can type as enter name. You enter. Then you go to the next box where it is the input level. This is the message which will be displayed on the screen. So we'll just type it as enter your name. When you say enter your name, what you are going to do as a user, you are going to enter your name, ABC or some name you are going to enter. So when we enter that name, we need to give some space for it to be stored. We need to declare some variable where it will be stored. So when you click on this input dialog and you see on the right side, you will see the properties of this. Okay, the label, what you have written, all these things will be listed over here. At the bottom, you will see something called as an output. Click on that box, right click from there, you'll see something called as create variable. So just create variable, set create variable, and you type a variable name. Say for example, I've typed as name and you just enter it. Now what happens is that we have created a variable name called name where the content from this field will be stored. So you can check this. There is something called as variables here in the control panel. There you see the variable we have just created. So it is name. The variable type is string. By default it is string. You are going to enter a name, so it reminds us. We can keep it as string itself. And you will see something called as scope. Scope is given as test2. Test2 is by default, it has taken the sequence as the scope. This variable is the visibility of this variable is within this sequence. The scope says that the visibility of this variable is within this sequence. So our name variable is entered. So once you do that, now we have asked the user ask the user for the input. Once the input is received, so if you want to hide these variable tab, you just click the variable once again, it will hide down. So you just have to display this name. We'll use the same message box again. I think I am on the correct pace and just slowing down for which will enable you so that you can do along with me. So I think I'm on the correct pace, or should I reduce my speed? So I'll take the message box, we'll drag it over and drop it here. So we have taken the input from the user. Now we have a message box. Now what is to be, what we have to type here is that, hi, the name entered, welcome to UiPath. So I'll try to type all that. So the message I have to put in double quotes. I'll put hi, and then I'll leave a space. I'll put the plus sign, leave another space, and I'll give the variable name which I've declared here. I've declared only one variable name here as name. So when you type NA, the variable you have created will be listed down here. So hi plus the name, leave another space, get a plus over here, and then message, welcome to UiPath. Once it is done, you can enter. So we'll just check this, what happens when I run this program. So save the project. Every time please follow this. Once you are done, you save the project, take debug and click run file. So it is executed. Now I'll see a message on your screen to enter your name. I'm just entering my name and I'm pressing OK. So I'll see that, hi Srihari, welcome to UiPath. Now you might be seeing it very closer that we can give more spaces there. So this is a way we take an input and we integrate that input along with our message. So we'll just do some space over here. I think most of you are doing along with me and you are finding it easier to program it. Now I'll see a message, a full message like this. Hi Srihari, welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you explain how to select the properties pan once again?
Sure. So if you OK over here, you'll have the window again. So what you're doing is that you have an input dialog box. When you just click on that input dialog box, at the top of the input dialog box, if you click on the right side, you will see the properties. And in the property, what I've said is take the result, click over there, right click there and just click on this create variable. Or the shortcut for that is Control K. You click over, you have a mouse click here and just take the shortcut as Control K. Set variable will be there. You can give any name. I think it is visible now, ma'am. Just have to click on this input dialog box. Don't click on the entire test2. You will not see these options. Just click on to the input dialog. You will see these options. Is it okay, madam?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now we have our second project done. So first you have tried to display a message. Try to display a message. The second time you got a input from the user and it just didn't simply display it. You have taken that input, you have included it with the message what you have already done. So I think it is clear now. And you're finding it easier now, I think. So you are getting familiarized with the environment. You could drag and drop properly. You could find the activities easily. You'll see the properties also. So variables I have already explained. You can just click on this variable. You will see a name here. You'll see the data type here. You'll see the scope. If necessary, you can set a default value also. The other way also we can do this that we'll see in the next exercise that from here you can create a variable that you'll see. Just click on create variable and you say that it is name2, and by default it is string, so that variable is created. So you can create the variable from here, from the property pane. You can create it from these variable control also. So you can, as I said, managing variables, you can remove or delete variables also. You can just press remove variables, remove unused variables. So whatever variables you didn't use till now in the program will be removed. Or you can just remove all the variables, or you can just right click on the variables and you can go for a delete activity. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I am Bharani. I have created an input dialog box and then I have created a message box, sir.
Okay.
But I can't able to run the program, sir. In the
Any
property
error
also,
or
I have created a variable.
yes?
In the property panel also, I have created the variable.
You have created the variable in the properties. Okay. You have given the name. You have just pressed enter. Any error message you got?
It is loading, sir. 1 second.
Yes.
It is loading, sir. 1 second.
Yeah, that's what I said. It may take time depending on our system. We might have a lot of things in our system. We might have other programs in our system which is using our RAM. If that is the case, it will take some time. So we need to patiently wait for it. Bernie sir, if the problem is still there after some time, please interrupt me and ask your concern.
So 1 second.
So that was our second project. Now we'll move on. So now, while doing the second project, we have used a variable called as string. So this is how
Sir?
we need to yeah.
Sir, I have an error, a validation error. Compilation error, sir.
So what can you read that message?
Compiler error encountered processing expression name. We have created the variable name as a name, sir.
So now can you
And
click on this variable tab and see that whether there is a name with string as variable type? Whether it is visible there?
it is only name, sir.
Name, what is a
only
variable type?
enter your name, sir.
No, I am asking about these variable. Please listen to the screen, and you just see that whether here you click that variable and that variable with.
No, sir. I have not created a variable.
Yeah, you need to create a variable. See, actually, what you have to do is you click on this input dialog,
Okay.
and in this result, and you just see you just right click here, and you'll see an option called create variable.
Okay, sir.
Did you do that?
Yes, sir. I'm having result. In the result, I have name, sir.
Yeah, okay. Have you simply typed the name over there, or just you have did what I said? Just right click and did as create variable.
Sir, I have created the variable, sir. The variable name
So it
is
is displaying
name.
over there. If you have created it correctly in this result, then it will display over here in the variable. It's not displayed here because I have deleted the variable.
Variable type is a string only, sir.
Yeah, variable type is string.
In the name of the variable is I have created a variable that is name. Scope is a test2. Default
Okay,
is enter a VB expression.
okay. You need not do anything there. Then you just click. Then you just put enter. Press enter. Now the error is gone.
But I am again having a compiler error. After some time, I will ask.
Okay. You can try and you can keep asking us, because if there are a lot of disturbance in the background, because see, if you are clear with the concepts here, it will be easier in the session 3, 4, and tomorrow session also. So okay. So now we'll do something with the string again. So I have displayed a name. I've entered a name and I've displayed the name. I'll just ask you to do, no, we'll do it together. So we'll just see that display the first 3 letters of the name. So how to access these string variables you are seeing, display the first 3 letters of the name obtained as an input. So just get an input from the user, the name of the user as the name from the user, and whatever name he is entering, just have to display the first 3 characters of the name. Just we'll try to do something like that. So here I'll just create a new variable. So I'll just take a new sequence. So I'll see it as test3. So I've taken a sequence. Now I've taken an input dialog, place it over here. I give a label value for it, enter your name. So once you did this is a problem last time we had. So there will be something called as result. You can click over there and you can press the right click and you can make a create variable, or you can press Control K so that set variable is obtained over there. So you can just put name. So once that name variable is properly declared, you'll see it in the variable tab. So name string scope is test3 will it will be displayed over here. So now you have entered your name and that name is stored in a variable. Now what you'll do is that,
Sir, repeat one more time, sir.
so just take an input dialog box, just drag and drop it over here. You'll see 3 fields like dialog title. You just type something over there. I have typed as name. Then you, for the input label, this is the message what you see in your screen, like enter your name. So just type that message over there. Once you do this, the right hand side you will see an output. You see an output over there. In that, please right click and select the option create variable.
Okay, sir.
Then you give a variable name for it and you press enter. If your variable is correctly created, it will be displayed in the variable.
Yes, sir. Created.
Okay. So now you have, I think the error is gone. Now what I'll take is I'll take another activity called as assign. I'll drop it over here. There will see a 2 and a value. Say I'll make a new variable. Explain it once I have done it.
So may I know what is robot error?
Can you read the full error? Full error, whatever you got?
1 minute. Communication error with robot service. Please check robot service status. Reason, there is no available license on the server.
So I think the problem.
Once again, Sri sir, I think
Yes.
it is not properly connected with the orchestrator. See at the bottom side, right? You can see the Sri says desktop, right? Green color and vksrihari@gmail.com. Right? You have to get like this. I mean, green color with vksrihari@gmail.com.
Yesterday I got
ID.
like that. Yesterday I got today when I open it, it's like a robot error.
Okay. You do one thing, sir. Go to cloud.uipath.com and log in with yesterday what you have registered, right, with the Gmail ID, right? Please log in with that.
Okay.
And go to the start in your desktop. Go to the start. There you type UiPath Assistant.
Okay.
There you can able to see a application called UiPath Assistant. Open it.
Okay.
There it will be asking for sign in with your registered account.
Okay.
If you done that, this will be properly connected. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So what do you want to type in name dot substring and then sir? So in the assign what I want to type, sir? Name dot substring and then.
So for me, the new name, what you are assigning, how you are assigning that? Just I typed in the enter box, but it is showing me the red color.
I'll come back to it. Arun is trying to solve a problem which is already raised. So I'll come back after that.
I think the question is for you, Sri. The question is for you, I think, sir.
Okay. What is the question?
Sir, in the I have created an assign variable. That new name equal to name dot substring and then what you type.
Okay. I'll come back. I was not explaining it. I just tried it out now. So what we are trying. So last time, I can hear a lot of voices in the background. Please, can you unmute all your? Okay, thank you. So last time what we did was we tried to get an input from the user. We tried to get an input from the user and we just displayed the name along with the input. Hi Srihari, welcome to UiPath. Now what I'm trying to do in this project is that I'm trying to get an input from the user. This is the first step you have done. So input dialog box, you are getting an input from the user. You are declaring a variable as name. So the input you received will be stored in this name. Now what I wanted is I just wanted to display the first three characters of the name entered. Okay, the first three characters of the name entered. What I'm trying to say is that we are using a string variable and how we can manipulate these string variables in a different way. This is possible in all the variables, but it is due to time constraint, we'll just limit it to string variables. So just we need to display the first three character of the name entered. So what I have taken is I've taken an assign. I have declared a variable. So if you can type new name equal to, if you type like this, there will be an error. What you have to do is that go to variable and you just see a create variable. Just click on that and you type the name new name. I'll be again in string. We need not disturb anything else. You just type new name and put an enter. So that variable is displayed over there. So what we do is that we take an activity called substring. So string, within the string, what we are going to access the string. So what we do is that first variable, that the variable which we have the name with us, that variable dot substring, inside the bracket, what you have to do is 0, 3. Just I will see that I'll put it in my. So what we are doing is that my name I'm typing Sri Hari. So the first 3 character I have to do. Say for example, indexing starts from 0. The 0th character is S R E. So this is my index length. So this is S is my 0th position and my index length is 3. I can specify my, since I want the first 3 character, I am specifying the index length as 3. So I am just putting that substring of, take the bracket 0, 3. 0 in the sense the starting index value to the index length 3. Once you have done with that, you just press enter. So in the new name variable, you'll have the first
Square
3
bracket, sir.
Yeah.
Square bracket, sir. Bracket 0, 3 should be in a square bracket or
No. You just have to put these bracket. Okay. It's not curly bracket, it's square bracket. So when you put it 0, 3 here, you put an enter. Now our first 3 characters of the name is there in the variable new name. So I just have to display that variable alone. So you take a message box, put the name of the variable. So yeah. So I think now it is error free from your side. You could see the first 3 character of your name. Save your project, click on debug file and click run. So if you have accidentally click on debug file, what you'll see is that it will keep on going, it will not display anything. You just have to stop the debugging and then you again have to press the run button. So you'll see something like this. My new name is Sri, S-R-E.
sir, I have debug, sir.
Yeah.
How message is enter your name? I'm entering as Bharat. Okay, sir. It is
Okay.
displaying as okay, sir. So fine.
Okay. So I think we have
Sir,
completed. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is the 3rd project. When I created this and run the project, the first project is running as default. How to set it as a 3rd project? By default, it is first project is running. First test 1 is running when I run this program.
So did you take it from this drop down and you just run this while running? Are you having this screen in front of you?
Yes, sir. This screen is in front of my. But after running in the same top panel, there is test 2, test 1 is existing. So test 1 is by default moves to test 1.
So whether for test 2 also you receive the same problem? Only this test 1 is executed?
No, I got test 1, but test 2, test 3, test 1, everything is displayed on the top.
Shall I interrupt? Actually, test 3, you please click it. You should highlight it. Once it is highlighted, go to debug file, click that button, right? You can able to see 3 options. You have to select run file.
Okay.
Don't select run. You have to select run file. If you are selecting run file, then the corresponding file or sequence will be executed.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Can you confirm it now, ma'am? Are you getting the correct?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, I got it now, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Fine. So we have finished 3 projects, familiarized with the string variable. Now I'll go to the next topic. So these materials I'll be sharing with you today. After the session, these materials will be sharing with you, which will have all these screenshots of all the codes. Okay, you can use that. So then we'll go on to integer variable. So these are the variables it is extensively used. Right now we have seen only the string variable. So it'll be better if you don't have a doubt, please mute yourself. And now integer variable, you can just get into it by doing a simple exercise. So you just have to get 2 marks as input from the user. I think that task is clear for you. You have to add these 2 marks and display the result as total marks. So I think I need not do this. We will do this. So when you are getting a mark, the difference is only this: when you get the input from the user as mark, you just have to change the string type, change the data type, the variable as string int 32. So since for the first time I will also try to do. So I'll take a new sequence, we'll name it as test4. We'll again take now, if it is a recent, if it is an input dialog, it will be available under the recent tab. So you can just click over from there and you can place it. Take the first input, type as enter mark 1. Now the same thing, you go to the output, click on the result, press Ctrl K, set variable comes, just type as mark 1. If you enter, a variable is created. Now enter mark 1. When you enter mark 1, the data is stored in the variable mark 1. You'll see that here as mark 1. So when you go to this place, so what can be done is that just double click on that. A drop down will come which will say about all the variable type, not all the variable types, some of the variable types available, because plenty of variable types are there. There is something called as browse for types. If you click on that, you'll see the options of variables available with UiPath. So here now you have to select int 30. Click on enter. So I've created a variable for the mark 1. Yeah, declared it as an integer. Now you can continue. I think the rest of the things you'll understand, you know. So now you can continue. Try to get the second input. I know that it might be boring for people who have got some programming skills, but you have to bear with us for this session because there are a lot of people who is doing this for the first time. So you need to address them also, because only these will make them feel that the programming is easier. After receiving these 2 marks, what is asked to done is that you have to find the total marks. See, that was the problem. Get 2 marks as input from the user, add it and display the result as total marks. So now 2 inputs are available with us. Now you have to add these things. So for that, you will take an assign activity. We'll declare a variable here like total mark, and we'll display the condition how this total mark need to be calculated. So I can say it as mark1. Give the variable name here, mark1 plus mark2. See an error box. So when you get an error, just try to read the full error. Compiler error encountered processing expression total marks, and there they'll say that total marks is not declared. It may be inaccessible due to its protection level. So we haven't declared any variable like total mark. So what we can do is we can go to the variable tab, create variable. You can say it as total mark, and you can say it again. This will also be integer. Now you'll see that the by this time. I made a mistake here. I just put as total mark. So what you have done there is total marks. So give the same name. Total marks, and it is an integer. There it is gone. So mark is entered. You get the input from the user. We are going to find the total of that, and after finding that, we have to display it. So in order to display it, we'll take a message box and we'll display as total marks is. So we need to display this total marks is. Where is the total mark available? It is available in the variable total marks. So you have to press plus the variable name total marks will be displayed here, and the total marks is in integer, and you have to display the message so that you have to give something called as dot to string. Dot to string. So save the project, and again I'll make it clear it is run file and it's not run, it is run file. So I'll enter the mark 175. We'll ask for the second mark, and once that is done, it will give the total marks. So total marks is 170. I think all of you are done with this. So what we have tried to do is that we have tried to declare a variable as an integer type. Any issues?
I have an error, sir.
What is the error? Can you say?
I think it shows that the argument is not declared.
Which one?
The compiler error. Mark1 is not declared. How do we declare that, sir?
So just go to input dialog box here. You just click that. Whether you have made this in the result, you have created the variable in the name mark1.
Yes.
So give the same name there, mark1. If you are declaring as mark1, that the same name should be given in this total marks equal to mark1 plus mark2.
Okay.
Oh, the error is gone.
But in the variable pane, there is. Wait a second.
The audio is not clear, sir.
Oh, okay. I will correct this.
Okay, I think you understood the error. whatever is here as mark 1, the same name will appear over here. So these variable name, it is this variable name you have to clearly give. Even a single mistake will show an error like this. This is what happened in the last program. So just give the same name as mark 1 and mark 2. So we have gone through the string variable, the integer variable. Next, another important thing is that we have to see about date and time. So in many places, when you use an automation software, I have said that you have to access the date and time, because when you're scheduling something, there is the need for date and time. When you have a report, when you have to generate a report, as we see in yesterday's case, a doctor generating a report, something like that. All these things needs date and time, because all these are valid documents. So we'll see the next variable called as date time variable. So before that, please take down these. Now you know about string, you know about your integer variable. So this is the first assignment from our part. What you have to do is that you have to display your name and age. So at the end, you have to display that the name is so and so, and the age is this much. But the question, you just have to read it clear. You should not simply get name as input and age as input. You have to get name as input first, and then you have to get year of birth as your second input. You get two input. One is your name, second is your year of birth, but you have to display your name and your age. So please try these. If you can do these, it is better. If you have any doubts, please you can ask us by tomorrow's morning session or today itself. So once again, get your name and age. You have to display your name and age, but you have to get name and year of birth as input. So that is what we said in the last class, that you don't require a lot of programming skill. You just require some logical skill to do these things. So now it is an easier task. You could understand that. Yeah.
Sir, for displaying name, we are using a message box, and for displaying the age, sir, year of birth as input. What is the variable name, sir?
Actually, I think I'm not clear with your question. Can you be a bit more audible? Can you be a bit more louder?
Sir, for displaying the name, we are using message box, right?
Okay.
And then for displaying the age as an input, what is the variable, sir?
See, that is what we said. You want to get your year of birth. Again, it is an integer value. So only a year I am asking. You're just getting at 1990. It is an integer value. So your name is a string, and your year of birth is an integer value.
Okay. What is the variable I want to use?
Yeah, the variable is that you can use. You can say it as a name as the variable. You get your name. You can take year of birth as the second variable. You declare the year of birth as integer variable and name as string variable. You will get that input. I think you are asking for these assignment question, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, sir. You just try with this. Whatever I have taken now about integer and string, you try with these. If you have any issues, we'll discuss on.
Okay, sir.
So we'll go for date and time. We have a very simple task. Just display the current date and time. So when I say current date and time, it will take the system date and time. Okay. So I've said about the application of these. I'll go back to our studio. We'll take a new sequence. I'll put it as test file. So yeah, what is our job? We are going to display the current date and time. So we have to assign a variable for it. So I'm assigning a variable like date time dt. So I'm putting a variable. I haven't created the variable. So what I'll do is that I'll first create a variable named dt. So we are going to create a variable which is going to show the date and the time. So in your variable type, please click there is a variable called as date time. So you'll not find it in this list. So you have to browse for types. So you'll see these are the number of variable types you have got. So here just type date time. Just scroll down, you'll see system date time. Just select that and press OK. So click on the variable type, browse for types. There you type date time, you'll see system dot date and time. Okay. So we'll do that. Date equal to, what we'll do is date time time dot now, the current date and time. So take an assign activity. You declare a variable dt in the datetime format. Write it as dt equal to datetime dot now. So what dt will have is that the system datetime, the current time and the today's date will be displayed. Now you have to display it. So it is available in dt. Now you have to display it. What we can do is that we can put it in a message box. So in the message box you can write dt. So it will be like in again in numbers. So you can type it as dot toString. So dt dot toString. So it's over. Just have to save it. You have to run this file. This time it takes a bit more time to display. So this is a message box you will receive. You will receive the box like a month, date and year and the current time in time, seconds and hour, seconds and milliseconds, 10, 54 and 35. Hope that all of you have done this. Any errors? So if you are, say we are going a bit late, I think the session is till 11:30. It's almost 11 now. So I think it is clear now. So if you have any doubt, there is the screenshot. You just have to take an assign, have to do all these things. So now I believe that we have did 5 projects. We just got familiarized with the environment, how to drag and drop, how to find the activities, etc., etc. I think you are a bit finding it easier with this environment now. So that was our purpose to select questions like this, because next session you are going to see some more advanced topics like recording, scrapping, etc. Where it will not be like we can't explain again and again. We can't simply say that you take a variable, declare the variable. It will be time consuming. So be clear with the concepts here. I think since no doubt was there, I think that everyone has got the answer. Now we'll go on to the next topic, like control statements. So as in every program, we have got if, while, do while, and some called as for each loops, for each control statement. So we'll see one by one, and we'll try to do some problem on it. So you know that what is an if statement. Those who are in programming know that what is an if statement. So if activity can be useful to make decision. Yesterday we said about this if. We have a structured data with us. We have data which has got standard rules. So which means that I have, if process A is doing this, then process B should do this. If something like this is there, we can easily automate a process. So there, if activity is mostly used. So what is the if? For the first timers, I can say that when it is if, the first condition is the activity in the then section. So based on a value of a variable, a condition is executed. Okay, if A is less than B, do this. If else, do the next thing. So from an if case, you can do these two things. Okay, so this is about if activity. We are not going to the theory of it. So we'll try to do a problem. So the first is that just get two numbers from the user and just find that whether the first number is divisible by the second number. And you have to display, if it is divisible, you have to display that the number is divisible, the first number is divisible by second. If not, you have to display as first number is not divisible by second. So this is our activity. I think at least some of you would have started doing these. You'll be happy to know that you are finding more speed in doing the activities. So we have to get two numbers as input. To give the label as enter the first number. Then you have to declare this number here. Sorry, is number 1. I made the same mistake what I have said. Of 1. So another dialog box for the second number. You can even copy and paste your first. So now you have two numbers. Now you have to check for the condition. So what we are dealing with the if control. So if, just type if, you'll have an if over here, just drag and drop it here. When you drag and drop it, you'll see that if, so how does it work? If condition, so nearby you'll see show else, you just click on that, you'll get these else also. So you can simply put an if condition also, or you can give this if then else also. So if you give the condition here and ask the robot to do what if the condition is true and what if the condition is false. You can set two things here. If the condition is true, do this. If the condition is false, do this. So what is a condition? We have number 1. We are seeing whether it is whether the number 1 is divisible by number 2. Mod number 2 equal to 0. So this is our condition. If number 1 mod number 2 is equal to 0, then you have to display a message that the number is divisible. Else you need to give another message, the number is, first number is not divisible by the second. So what is the error? Because we have declared these number 1 and number 2. You can see the variables over here. The number 1 is declared as a string. Number 2 is declared as string. So you can't do an operation like mod over there. So you change it as integer. Both these as integers. So the error is gone. So this shows the importance of declaring a variable in its correct format. So number 1 mod number 2 equal to 0, then display this, else you display this. So it's done. We save the project. We run the file. Enter the first number. The second number. And we say that first number is divisible by the second number. I entered 45 and 5. We'll try another case also. Again 46 and 5 says that the first number is not divisible by the second number. So this is how if condition works. So if takes a condition first, check for the condition, whether the condition is true, it will execute this then dialog box, it will execute this then sequence. If it is false, it will go to the else statement. So whenever we have a structured data, we can use proper standard rules, we can use these. So this is about if statement. I think all of you have done this. There is no response on the from your side. Maybe you are getting bored.
No,
If
sir.
you are getting bored,
Good.
yeah. What is what? Yes.
So completely technical, we are not bored. Just trying to
Okay.
match with your speed.
Am I going speeder? And I think that I'm going a bit slower.
Actually, sir, we are new to the software and you are fully aware about the software. That is the problem.
No, sir. It is that yeah, we discussed this yesterday about after installing the software, and only from there we started. Only yesterday we have made all these exercises because our aim was to start from the recording and scrapping itself. But we know that many people are new to this. That is the reason we are trying these very simple things with this. So if you feel any difficulty, if you want to make things slower, we can do that because it is not about finishing all these things. It is to make you aware. The new users are, we want you to be aware of this, how we will make this
That is
because
okay, sir. You given the software and everything. We practice at our home.
yeah,
After
okay,
this
sir.
FTP, that is also beneficial. Anyhow, we are learning the things.
Okay, sir. Okay. So whatever doubts also others, please, whatever doubts you have, even if it is silly doubts, please ask, please feel free to ask to us. So can we try something like this? Those who are finished, can you try something? You have a number and you just get an input, you just get a number as an input and find whether it is odd or even. Please try with these. You can just try on the same platform itself. Just take this second number. So just have the first number. And just to find what is the question. Try to find whether it is an odd or an even. So the same condition like number 1 mod 2 equal to 0. Then you can display as number is even, else you can display as we'll try this.
Sir, no need to give any percentage or division symbol, right? We can just use directly mod.
I can try with this division symbols, all those things. If you get
Okay.
an error, you can say any logic what you like, we can use. It
Yes.
is permissible.
Yes.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you explain me the condition once again, sir?
Oh, sure, sir, sure. So here what we are trying to do, the question is to find whether a given number is odd or even. So I'll get an input from the user as a number, I'll get a number as input. So whether we have to find the given number is odd or even. The easier way to find that is just to find the mod 2 for it. So what we get is we got the input from the user as first number, and what we are saying, we have declared it as number 1. This thing we have did in the previous problem. Now the condition is this: if the condition, if number 1 mod 2 is equal to 0. So that means that if this condition is true, we know that the number is going to be even. If it is false, the number will be odd. So this is a condition we have worked out. So what we can do is that we know that we can enter an even number first, like 44. We know the number is even, but we want the bot to say that the number is even. So the number is even. So the condition is the entered number mod 2 equal to 0. You can try other conditions also. So this is one logic to find an even number. So here is the next assignment number 2 for you. You can easily do this. Given get an input, you get an input, an year as input from the user. Say for example 2020 or 2021, and you just have to display whether the year is a leap year or not. This is your second assignment. So please try this. If you are okay, then it's good. If you find any difficulty, we'll discuss it in today's afternoon or tomorrow morning session. So then we'll go to the while activity. So what is while activity does? It enables us to execute a specific process repeatedly. So whatever we have done is a sequential step. Now what we are going to do is we are going to do an activity repeatedly while satisfying a specific condition. You give a condition and you ask to do till this condition is satisfied, you do this job. Say I have taken an example like print the numbers from 1 to 10. So what should be done? First 1, then 2, 3, 4, and it should keep printing till 10. So this is the problem, and we'll try to solve this. Take a new sequence and put it as test 7. So I'm taking an assign activity from here and declare a variable called counter. And I'll initialize these with the value 0. So I'll find an error here because that variable is not already created. So we'll create it in the same name, counter. It's going to be an integer. So you will just assign a counter, an initial value for a variable counter here. Now we are going for the loop. So we'll take while from here. We just type while here. You'll see while loop. So click on that, drop it. Now I'll see the condition here. Now I'll see the structure of this while loop. So condition is asked first, and if this condition is satisfied, we are going to execute this body, whatever is there, whatever activity is there in that body. So this is the sequence. So what I am trying to do is that I want to print the number from 1 to 10. So I'll make a condition like counter is initialized to 0. I'll make a condition like counter less than 11. So this is a condition we have kept. And in the body, you're going to take a new activity called as write line. We'll see what this write line does. So you take this write line and drop it over here. In the text, you just type the value is. You have to put the value of counter here. So counter is initialized to 0. You have to just declare the variable here, and since it is in integer, you have to put it as to string. So then what you have to do is that, so what is done, the condition is set. You have initialized a counter. In the while you have set a condition. So if this condition is true, what you have to do is specified here. You have to display the counter value here. Okay. So once that displayed, so the first time it will display a 0. So the counter value, the value is 0. And once after displaying 0, what we have to do is we have to increment this counter to print the next value. So for that, we'll keep an assign activity here, and we'll type as counter equal to counter plus 1. So once again, I'll come. What we are supposed to do is that we have to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay. So we are using a while loop. So in that while loop, what we are doing is we are initializing a counter. We are taking the while loop. We are setting the condition for the while loop. If this condition is true, you have to execute all these things is what we are saying. And we have to update the counter. So we'll just save these. I'll try to run the file. So the program is executed. Now if you click the output, there you'll see it as the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think you have completed this. So that's about while loop. And then we'll see into the do while also. You have time to see the do while also. So don't worry that I have this screenshot with me. I think that's I'll pass these so you can see to these, and you just have you can try these problems. when you're free. So we'll see the do while activity and the for activity. So do while is very similar to this while activity. We'll just look into this. So instead of while, we have a counter here. We'll take do while. So there is a difference you'll see from this do while. In the while, you'll see that first the condition is given, then we are giving the body. Here what happens is that the body is given first and then the condition is given. So since it is a sequence, what happens is that irrespective of the condition, whether it is true or false, this program will be executed once. So once it will execute, find the condition. If it is false, it will exit out. If it is true again, it will keep on doing this till it becomes false. Okay, so the same thing, whatever we have done there, same expressions you have to put it here. Right line, we'll put it as value is then immediately after that you have to put on a sign. Then after doing these, you give the condition as counter. Just for your understanding purpose, there is a big difference. We can do many problems with this showing the difference, but just understand these. These are the operations we can do. These are the control we have got in UiPath. So save and see again. You'll see your demo executed. You see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm not going much into it. So the last one. So we'll just finish it off with this. So the last one is the for each activity. So it will enable you to step through arrays, list data tables or other types of collections. So I think I did a mistake that I haven't explained about arrays, I think. So I'll try to explain arrays to you. So while dealing with the variables, I think we didn't deal with arrays. We'll say the arrays and then we'll say about for each loop. Then you'll understand. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Yeah. Can you show one condition, sir, if there are three integers, and how can we identify which is greater?
You have three integers with you, and yeah, we have to make a logic out of it. First check whether first and second is greater. If whichever is greater, you have to store it in another variable. Then you compare the second and the third variable. So we have to make a logic out of it.
So can we use ampersand symbol for that logic? Like if A is greater than B and A is greater than C.
We'll check, sir. We'll check, and I'll inform you.
Sure,
Because
sir.
we don't do these small these problems. I will definitely come back to you.
Sure, sir. Okay. Thank you.
So I'll see for an array. Eight. See an array. So here I'm trying to show the purpose of an array. I take an assign value. I'll try to declare a name array. So it will show an error because we don't have a variable. We create a variable name array. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to store 2 or 3 names into these name array value. Name array. Okay. It will be an one-dimensional array. I'm going to put this name array into it. So I'm going to store 3 names into this array. So the data type here, what I have to take is array of T. Once you take that, you will be prompted another select type, because inside array, what you're going to store. Here I'm going to store name, so I'll give it as string. Okay. So I've created a variable name array. So I've declared it here, and now I am going to give the value for this. It is curly braces. We are going to give the name, first name, and you are going to give another name. Going to give the third name. So we have declared some name over here as an array. Then I'm trying to display the name. Okay, so just name array. So when I display, so this is what I speak about indexing when I'm dealing with substring. So here it is displayed as, it is declared as array. So the indexing starts from 0th element, first element, and second element. So I have declared assigned three values here. So these one, the first one is the 0th element, first element, and the second element. So when I have to display, I have to specify that which element I am going to display. If I am going to display the first element, just put it in the message box as name array of 1. So just
FDP चल रही है.
Save, and I'll run this. I'll see that array is displayed, because what I have given as input is Sri first at 0th index, Hari as the first index, and next Arun as the second index. We'll just try to change these to 2. Save these, and we'll try to run the file. So it should display as Arun. Yes. So what you can do is that we can declare these variables as array of elements also, as an one-dimensional array you can declare. Then you can access say each element from this array. So that is one to declare array variable. I forgot to mention it when I am dealing with the variables. Now we'll go for the for loop. For each. I think it is time for me. Anyway, we'll just complete the for and we'll finish it off. We'll take a new sequence, and put it as test 9. So we'll see here, like again the same thing. Assign we'll take it as I'll just enter a number here. Is numbers, so we'll just declare the variable. This array of T, and here I'll give it as integer. So the variable is declared. Now I'll take the for each section. I'll take for each and I'll place it over here. For each item in I'll give the So this is the name I have declared already is array. So for each item will already be there. You just have that for each in the array, and you say what you have to do within this for loop. So just go to the message box. Just type it as item. So just run and I'll show you the result. So 1 is displayed. So what is the value I've entered is 1, 2, 3 and 4. In array, when we are declaring it as variable array, we see that it will display just the element alone. Here it is giving a repeated process, like first element is displayed, I say okay. Then it will display the second element, I say okay, it display the third element, it will display the fourth element, and now the condition is false and it will come out of the loop and the program is exited. So I know that I have at the end made it a bit faster because I was running short of time. But my purpose was that for those who are new to the programming side, I just wanted to make them feel that the programming with UiPath is easier, the environment is easier. That is why we decided to take examples and exercises like these. I think at least now you are a bit comfortable with the exercises. And the next session, I think it is 11:30 exactly. So the next session will be handled by my friend. He'll be dealing. I believe that he'll be dealing with the advanced concepts. So hope if you have any doubts, again I'll say that if you have any doubts, you can feel free to ask anytime. You can post your queries in your chat also. We'll reply for you, and we'll reply for the program what you have asked to think for largest of 3 numbers.
Sir, chat is not allowed for the participants. Chat is blocked by the organizer.
So tomorrow when we meet again, we can discuss it then.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So once again, thank you all. Thank you for those who are familiar with this. Thank you for patiently listening to me. Those others who have cooperated, who have did your exercises with this, thank you very much for taking this effort. And definitely we'll come back to you. Please try to attend these assignments and see that. Please try to attend these assignments and complete your assignments. If you have any difficulty with the assignments, please let us know. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the session, sir. So next we shall start the next session at 12 o'clock. Shall meet at 12 o'clock.